good morning. You are with me, Miriam Angel and Salim Barisa at 24 minutes past 9. Still making your day better with great music and, of course, good conversations. If you do have any question for us today, by the way, you know what to do. 0700917917. That is our WhatsApp number. Our social media handle is at SwahiliPotFM on Facebook, X, and also on Instagram. In studio, we now have His Excellency Christian Fellner. He is the Austrian ambassador to Kenya. Christian, good morning.
A wonderful good morning to you and all your listeners.
Welcome to the show.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here. I see a very nice office, very professionally equipped, so I'm eager to answer your questions.
Thank you so much for gracing us. What brings you to Mombasa?
Well, I mean, the immediate reason is that a number of ambassadors of the European Union, we are like a big club of 27, so 15 of them came to visit Mombasa. We had dinner with your governor, which you can also find on his Facebook site.
Yes.
And then we visited the harbour and a European mission, which is on a ship, on a frigate under a Spanish command, and their task is to fight and control piracy, trade in human beings, trade in drugs, weapons. So these kind of things we of course cooperate with Kenya, with Somalia, with others in the region to get this under control, which is very important politically and economically.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been in Kenya since 2018.
Correct.
What has surprised you most about Kenya?
What has surprised me most? That's in my job, you try to prepare, and but the thing which you can really be very proud of is you are extremely friendly people. That is, a fact, and I'll come to it at a later moment, because for Kenyans who go to other countries, it might be quite irritating that other people are less friendly, mostly everywhere in the world. Yes. And then since I live in Nairobi, the climate was extremely and is extremely pleasant. And again, that was really surprising. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Nairobi hosts both UNEP and UN Habitat. How significant is Kenya's role globally from where you sit?
Well, I mean, I'm ambassador, and I'm also a permanent representative to the United Nations here.
Yes.
So we do have to do with them quite a lot, and UNEP is of great significance to Kenya, but also to the world. And lately, Kenya has developed an image and an endeavor towards being a climate hub for the region, and above that even. Yeah.
Okay. You've also served in West Africa, the Middle East, and East Africa as well. How would you say that Africa has shaped you as a diplomat?
Oh, Jesus, that's a good question. People always believe that they sort of are like they are, but indeed they change over time, and they are strongly influenced by their environment and their life experiences.
Yes.
And these life experiences have been very, very different.
Yes.
And I'm lucky to say that all of them were non-traumatic, but rather pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And the most interesting thing is, you asked me first what surprised me, that I'm always surprised about the real situation. So what I can say from my life experience, particularly to young people, never trust what you hear. You have to experience this yourself. Of course, I mean, do your research on things, but oftentimes things are very different from what you let's say read in the newspapers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Now, when you're from negotiating the Palermo Convention to working in development, what lessons have stayed with you throughout your career?
Oh yeah, I mean the one thing which I would say is very relevant is to stay open and not to be stubborn on something which you believe is the truth,
Yes.
but rather to always listen to the other side. This is, by the way, something which is very much missing at the moment in certain areas. People don't listen to each other.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry about that, but I learned a lot by just listening to negotiation partners instead of telling them what I believe as being true.
Yeah. So let's look at entrepreneurship and business development. How does Austria support entrepreneurship as a driver of economic growth, particularly through small and medium-sized enterprises?
That's a very good and very complex question. For that, I have to go a little bit back in history,
Yes.
because Austria and the center of Europe, we have a very, very, very long tradition of training our young people towards knowledge in all kinds of areas, and so we have like kind of a tradition to be entrepreneurial active, and most of the companies, actually more than 99% of all companies, are small and medium-sized enterprises in Austria. They're really the backbone of employment, of innovation, and also of exports. Yeah. So what does that mean? That means that the whole environment, the business environment, is created around the needs of these entities, because our let's say countries, our states have understood that they depend crucially on these. But they produce the goods we are consuming, but they also produce the taxes of which the state is living.
Yes.
And all that let's say the state has to do in that context is to give a stable regulatory environment. Now, and I strongly underline stable regulatory environment, but then of course they also have specialized grants and innovation funding, and they would do export promotion. And there's always been a strong cooperation between the statal entities and the industries. So this is not a contradiction in our system. We do have research institutions. These are either supported by state or owned by the state, and they still have very close relations to the industries. And one of the very important things we have, like in Austria, but also in Germany, in Italy, in Switzerland, in France, so in all that region, we have vocational training systems, as I said, for hundreds of years. And so we see these things as very long-term economic pillars, and not as a short-term thing.
All right, there's a lot that has come out of that. When you talk about entrepreneurship, active, to be I think you said entrepreneurial active. What does it look like to be that, to be active when it comes to entrepreneurship? And also, how does the state support this entrepreneurs?
Well, support, the first thing is it doesn't hinder you.
Okay.
So everything is allowed that's not forbidden. So as long as you don't hurt anybody, as long as you don't poison an area, as long as you don't do anything which is obviously illegal, like selling babies or something,
Yes.
you would be allowed to do that. And as I said, we have this system of training young people.
Yes.
You would learn how to work on these things. For example, we have really specialized schools, and even in the general curriculum, you would learn that you have to calculate before you do something, right?
Yes.
So you would have an idea, you would have a concept of this idea, and then you would do calculations. Does this really work? And the best thing you can do is to have a friend who is good enough a friend to criticize you and to tell you, look, I'm not sure whether this is going to work because this costs so and so much more than you thought of, and so on. So then if this is let's say a tick, then you can go to the next step and implement what the idea you had, and that, I would say, works pretty smoothly. So you don't need a lot of time to register a company and also to get the necessary funding, provided that the idea is not only yours but others also believe in that.
Okay.
What similarities do you see between Austria's SME culture and Kenya's growing entrepreneurial ecosystem?
Yeah, very good. Well, I mean, both countries have a strong culture of entrepreneurship, and this has to do with resilience and with the aim of problem solving. Human beings are basically problem solvers. They love having problems and solving them. Even if as a child you want to, you get a new toy, you want to work with it, you want to understand it. So this culture is there from early on, and as I said, many of our companies are small and medium-sized. Many of them are family-owned. So you sort of inherit even this idea of being an entrepreneur. And you have the same in Kenya, at least in many areas, like, for example, farmers. If you have a family of farmers, people hardly can imagine to be something else because they have got this into their cradle. And so these experiences, this knowledge, and also this engagement in the field is built over generations. In Kenya, here you have a vibrant, youthful ecosystem. If you so will, it's driven by necessity, by innovation, by ambition as well. Yeah, so we have entrepreneurs in Kenya and in Austria that are deeply connected to their communities, and increasingly they are also outward looking as the world becomes a smaller place.
Yeah. From your experience, what do you think are the most important conditions for businesses to thrive or to grow beyond startups?
Well, the one thing which I think is very important is predictability. I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, you shouldn't do anything without knowing that with a high probability this and that will be the outcome. Therefore, one thing which we remind our government all the time is that they should keep. They can, of course, figure out the best conditions under which the economy thrives, but then these conditions should stay as constant as possible, so that if you have an idea today, you know that in 3 years, when your business is starting to get really, really profitable, you're still having the same conditions, and you are not taxed twice in 3 years, or there is something new coming up, which you didn't think in. So in Europe, for example, we had this problem that with the trend towards environmental friendliness, new rules came in, and the business sector immediately said, well, that's new, and we are not yet ready to handle that. So the political leaders decided to postpone the implementation. So they made the law today, but they said, you are going to deal with it in 10 years. And that's fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, so when talking about predictability, that means things have to be constant. Things have to be same for a certain period of time. What happens in case of a crisis, and especially with what happened with COVID? What happens in such a case?
Well,
of a natural disaster?
Yes, I mean, you are asking a very, very useful question, but that can't be really answered, because something which is totally new is totally new, and by definition we don't have clear solutions to that. However, human civilization has gone so far that today, if there is a pandemic, for example, for around 100 years, doctors have and statisticians have worked on how to deal with that, and I must say that at the time it was like difficult to deal with it, but if you look at it, it was well done, right? So there were really experts who told us this and that you have to do, and then you're going to survive, and basically humankind survived, right? So we can't answer the question what if something happens that we didn't imagine.
Yes.
We can't answer that, but I'm quite confident that we did well in the past several thousand years, and the next crisis we are going to also survive.
Yeah. And when you look at Kenya and now Austria, which sectors present the strongest opportunities for business collaboration between Austria and Kenya?
Well, there is quite a number of things we can do together. As I said before, Kenya wants to be like a climate hub for the region. And Austria has really, for a long time now, quite an experience in renewable energy, in processing of agricultural products, waste management. Yeah, just recently they introduced projects here in Kenya where specialized waste, chemical waste, is going to be disposed of, and there's Austrian technology behind for specialized waste from let's say from hospitals, right? Because there you must be very careful not to contaminate something outside the hospital, right?
Yeah.
So we do have quite a deep experience in green technologies and also in industrial efficiency. And Kenya has a market that's growing and growing. Innovation is something which is not new to you, but it's taking up a lot of momentum. So there are a lot of young people having ideas on how to deal with the challenges that are around. Tourism is a very important sector where we can work together. Like Austria and Kenya have both very big income from tourism, about 10% of your gross national product, about 10% of our gross national product are from tourism. And then we can, like Austria has very good schools on the tertiary level. So if you have done tourist schools and then you have worked 2 years in the sector, you could go to one of those world leading schools in Austria. And while we can cooperate in that, we are still no competitors, because you don't have skiing in your country and we don't have lions. So and Austria is a landlocked country. We don't have even a sea. So we can really cooperate because we are no competitors and we can learn from each other.
Yeah.
Okay. What role does innovation and technology play in strengthening Austria's competitiveness globally?
You know, innovation is a must if you are an entrepreneur, and I would say not only in Austria but everywhere in the world. And let me quote an old lady from the 19th century. Marie von Ebner-Eschenbach was an Austrian thinker and writer, and she said, if you stop trying to become better, you stop being good. you know, if you are in business, your competitors don't sleep. They are going to see what you're doing, and they are going to try to make it faster, more efficient, cheaper.
Yeah.
And therefore, you should be the one watching all the time. Could I do my own thing a little bit more efficient, a little bit better, with more modern colors, designs, more user-friendly operations? All this, it has to be your daily task.
Yeah.
And if you look at the history of business enterprises, big business and very successful business enterprises in Europe and in America, when they failed, that was when Grandpa said he's going to continue doing the same thing because it was successful for the last 35 years. But that doesn't mean that it's successful in 5 more years. And very successful companies went bankrupt because they didn't innovate, they didn't restructure, they didn't follow the trends that were on the markets. Yeah.
Yeah. You say that when you start something, I think you start something, you have to more of like have to see an end goal, right? So for somebody who's thinking about starting a business, and they start a business and they see the end goal, and they get to a point and they realize, oops, this is not going in the direction that I want to, what would you advise them?
Well, I mean, you know, difficult to advise because you have to be in the situation. But the first thing is always talk to other people who are a little bit knowledgeable and friendly to you, not to your worst enemies or competitors. And think about how could I adapt my idea to something which works better. I mean, again, if you look at the history of businesses, oftentimes they started at one end and ended in another end, but successful, right? As far as I know, Coca-Cola was produced to be a medical drug or something, and it's something else today. So there's a lot of be flexible in mind. Don't be stubborn. You have had an idea. Yes, it probably was a good idea, but let's make it better, let's improve it by dialogue with your consumers.
Yes. Okay. And sustainability is central now in modern business. How has Austria integrated sustainable practices into enterprise development?
Okay, sustainability, and if you talk about environmental friendliness, again, let me go back in history a little bit, because this I lived it as a young person in 1984. I was sitting in the classroom of my today head of state. He was my professor for financial things, and at this time when I was sitting there in winter of 1984. That was when the green movement was developed, and that was basically a movement of young people. And the interesting thing is, what I saw with my own eyes is that it was not the parents who told the children what to do. Now it was the children who said to the parents, okay, that's plastic, you have to put it into another box. That's metal, you have to put it in all these things. It was the children and the schools who took that up and developed a curriculum. And now the children explained to grandma how to be environmentally friendly. So for us, sustainability is not an option anymore. It's something which you have to be working on. It's integrated in policy, in finance, and in business strategies. All the more that you customers are going to appreciate that, at least in Austria. If you say, okay, I produce this product in an environmentally friendly manner, you are going to have a good chance that you are being accepted as a company, and your products are going to be accepted. So companies are encouraged to adopt energy efficiency, circular economy models, low carbon technologies. So green innovation is something which is also supported by the state, by incentives, by public procurement strategies. So it's something which you have to really look at.
Yeah. What opportunities would you say exist for Kenyan entrepreneurs to engage with Austrian investors or institutions?
Well, there are ample opportunities. Kenyans can and should, I believe, engage in trade fairs, in innovation partnerships, also with development finance institutions, and in particular when it comes to, let's say, business to business in research collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for example, your tourism. Is really great.
Okay.
And there are places in the area which are more demanded by the market, but are less attractive for me as an insider, because I know Kenya now, and I would say, well, for less price you get more in Kenya. Therefore, the Kenyans should work on the marketing in that area. And of course we have specialized agencies. We have Advantage Austria, which is basically the representation of our business community in the country. We have the Austrian Development Agency. There are specialized platforms for cooperation. And so you have opportunities to work together. But it's very important that the environment for this cooperation is there and is not restrictive.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. How can diplomatic missions like the Australian Embassy support private sector partnership and trade?
Now, what are we doing? We are representing our country, but we are also representing our business community. So imagine you are an Austrian company and you want to do something with Kenyans, and but it's like 7,000 kilometers away, and okay, you don't know these people. So what are we doing? We are going to give you some general information on the environment. If an Austrian company asks us, is this a viable business partner, we would do some background research and find out if somebody is a credible partner for an Austrian company. So if that business wasn't registered 2 days ago or something like that.
Yes.
So because, as I said, what businesses need is predictability, and that I always say the most important natural resource in this world is trust. And trust you can't produce quickly. It has to come over time. And the embassy and our representations help a little bit to find out the trustworthy partners. And they also create space for dialogue between government and private sector. All in all, what we are doing is we reduce uncertainty, we build trust, we open doors to businesses. Yeah, that's what we are doing.
Thank you so much. And lastly, what message would you like to share with young entrepreneurs in Kenya who are building businesses, actually?
Well, my message would be a message of encouragement, but also of realism. Entrepreneurship is never easy. Okay. It's not easy in Austria, and it's not easy in Kenya. You have to be. It's somehow perseverance. It's integrity. So stick to your words. Do what you say and say what you do. And continuous learning matters a lot, just as creativity. And think long term. We Europeans, we are long-term thinkers, and long-term partnerships are extremely efficient, because you know what you have on the other side, and then you are also ready to adapt to this other side. If you invest in skills, we have a very strong investment in the skills of our youth. Build partnerships and don't be afraid to engage also in the international sphere. Kenya has so many young people who are talented and who have ambitions, and with the right support, they can build businesses and they can compete even far beyond national borders.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you for making time today. All right, we've been speaking to His Excellency Christian Fellner. He is the Austrian ambassador to Kenya. We'll be right back. Good morning.